In example 3, we're going to graph the ellipse x squared plus 9y squared minus 2x minus 54y plus 46 equal to 0. But this time we are in general form instead of in standard form. So just like our parabolas and our circles, we had to go and complete that square to get it in standard form. We're going to do the same thing with our ellipse. So our first task is we're going to group together our x's and we're going to group together our y's. So we're going to get x squared minus 2x plus, I'm going to group together my y's, 9y squared minus 54y. And then I'm going to move my 46 over to the other side as negative 46. Then what I need to do is I need to complete my square. So I'm looking for a number to put in with my x's to complete that square, and I'm going to do another one with my y. The other thing I need to notice with my y terms is that this y squared has a 9 in front of it. So I'm going to be factoring that out as well. So what we have is we'll have x squared minus 2x, and then I'm going to leave room to add the number to complete my square. Plus, with my y squareds, I need to factor that 9 out in front, and I get y squared. And then 54 divided by 9 will leave me with a minus 6y, leaving room to add my number in, equal to negative 46. And then I need to remember, whatever I add to the left, I also need to add to the right. To get the number that I want in here, I'm going to take my middle number, divide it by 2, and square it. So I'm going to take my negative 2, divide it by 2, and square that number to give me my number in there. So negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. Squaring that will give me a positive 1. And if I added 1 on this side, I also need to add 1 on the right-hand side. Then I can move to my y. I'm going to take negative 6 divided by 2 and square it. And this whole thing is being squared, and that's going to fill in that spot there to complete my square. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. And negative 3 squared is going to give me 9 inside here. And since I added 9 on this side, I have to remember that this 9 is also on the outside. This 9 gets multiplied throughout, giving me 9 times 9, or 81. So I actually have added 81 to this side, so I'm going to add 81 to the opposite side as well. And then I'm going to complete my square. So I'm going to end up with x minus 1 squared. Remember, to complete that square, I'm taking the square root of the first term, which is x. I'm taking this sign, the very first sign in the parentheses, which is a negative, and I'm taking the square root of the last term, which is 1. So then my next one is going to be plus 9 times y minus 3 squared. And then I'm going to add up everything over there on the right. Negative 46 plus 1 plus 81 is going to give me 36. So now that I've completed this square, I need to remember that my right-hand side of my ellipse always has to be 1. So to get rid of that 36, to turn it into a 1, I need to divide by 36. And if I divide by 36 on the right, I need to do the exact same thing on the left. So I'm going to divide this side by 36, which means I need to divide each thing on the left by 36 as well. And by doing that and simplifying, I end up with my equation that x minus 1 squared over 36 plus my 9 and my 36 can simplify to 1/4. So I get y minus 3 squared over 4 equal to 1. And from here I can go ahead and I can find my information that I need to graph. Starting with my center. My center is going to be my h and my k. H comes from the x. K is going to come from the y. And remember, it is the opposite of those. So I have my center at 1, 3. And as I look at my numbers on the bottom here, this 36 is bigger than the 4, which tells us that a is going to be the square root of that 36, and that my major axis is going to be horizontal. So I'm going to say major axis is my horizontal axis, and it's going to be 2 times 6. Remember that 6 is coming from the square root of that 36. So my major axis is going to be a length of 12. And then my minor axis is going to be vertical this time, and it's going to be 2 times 2. And remember, I got this 2 in here by taking the square root of that b value, or that b squared value, which is 4. So my vertical axis is going to be a length of 4. And then I can go ahead and graph this. So I'm going to get rid of some of this so that I can get my graph back. All right. And then if I'm going to graph it, I'm going to start at my center, which is 1, 3. And since my major axis is a length of 12 and it's horizontal, I'm going to be going 6 to the right and 6 to the left. And then my minor axis is vertical. It's a length of 4, so I'm going to be going up 2 and down 2 from my center. And then I'm going to curve and draw my ellipse as best as I can. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, you can move on to your assignment.